so serious today.
I know.
It's time for the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria.
All right. Hey, everybody. How are you doing? It is the Senior Scoop, and I'm Bob.
And I'm Maria.
And we're really excited to be back, and we've got this is a great show we got going on today.
We have a great show today. The last couple have been great, but I think this one's going to be awesome. Our guest here, we have Pat Ahern, who is the president of Community Medical Center, and we have Dr. Chiricola, the head of the emergency medicine, correct? Right? And then we have our community partner, Cassidy, and we have our Medicare specialist, Jake, from Senior Medicare Solutions.
Wow, you did that right off the cuff. That's pretty amazing there, Maria.
Especially because it's been a crazy weekend.
Yeah, well, we got to talk about this weekend.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about this weekend. So, for those of you that might remember our episode a couple months ago, we were talking about the walk,
Making Strides for Breast Cancer in Point Pleasant.
So the Strides for Cure, and this was my first time. And now Maria had talked to me about this, and my wife's mom had passed from breast cancer, and we had done some runs before, but I can't believe living in Brick, I'd never been to this thing at Point Pleasant. So I'm thinking, Maria's telling me about this, and I'm like, maybe a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000, maybe. Oh boy. How many people do you know?
Over 10,000 people.
Yes, it was unbelievable.
Just such an amazing event. It's very personal to me because I'm a 19-year breast cancer survivor, but I've done the walk before that. But when you get up on that stage and you're introducing people and you just see the sea of people, it is just overwhelming that so many people come out to support each other. I think the rest of the world needs to look at that and take a lesson from it, because every person there is so kind and so welcoming and so supportive. So
that's so funny.
It was an awesome event. We raised over $1 million.
Hey, all right, that's great. That is awesome. I mean, and it's funny too, because I have to echo what you said. So I'm not a runner, but my wife is. And when we go to these runs, like the Spring Lake 5, no offense to anybody, but like when it's about to start, people are like jamming each other in and getting ready to go. This was just such a nice experience all the way around. And I couldn't believe, as you're exiting, the rows of cheerleaders cheering everybody on. And it was a one common goal for everybody.
Yes.
It was just from your survivors to those that were family of survivors to those that were families of those that they've lost. It was just one common goal of, hey, let's do better. Let's do better than we're already doing. And it's come so far already.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're excited because next year, I was already like, all right, we got to get some people together. I got to bring speakers. We're going to go crazy next year because I have issues. And that'll be a lot of fun. So that was yesterday, and now we are here today, and I think it's a great it's a great segue because we're going to be talking about women's health, and we have some amazing guests, and it's such you were talking about, it's such a big part of the year too, because we've got to talk about Medicare and this whole open enrollment thing. I don't know what it's about. I just know everybody goes a little bit crazy, and there's Medicare Part A, B, C, D, 4, 5, 7, 8, and F, right? And
that's
all these.
Jake's department.
Yeah. So, I'm excited to talk to Jake. So why don't we get into this show? Why don't we we're going to take a minute. We're going to get ourselves all ready. Are you ready to do this?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to take a minute. We'll get on with Jake, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria. Thanks for joining us, and we will be right back.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria.
All right, everybody, we are back. And we've got our first guests today from Senior Moment Medicare Solutions. Now, this is Jake, and Jake and his team have been helping seniors down the shore and across Florida as well. They're in 20 states, to be honest, and this is for over a decade. Their motto is, we don't work for the carriers, we work for you. And there's never a fee to talk to us. And what we're talking about today is Medicare benefits. It's open enrollment time. This can be a very confusing time for our seniors, and there are always something changing every year. So it's important to have someone that you trust that can tell you some of the benefits and what the differences are between all of these Medicare offerings. So let's welcome our guys right here from our Senior Moments Medicare Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. How are you?
Thanks for having us. We're doing great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how long have when did you start this? How did you start this?
Well, we've been coming here how many years now?
Oh,
5, 6, 7?
6 years, yeah, at least.
Yeah, so there's some of you out there. I see some faces. I see Louise and a few others. But this is the first format like this. Usually we are doing our A, B, C's, and D of Medicare, where we go through the ins and outs, all the moving parts, all the complex pieces of Medicare, and we educate. Medicare is very strict about what we can talk about in certain formats and all. And when we come here, we're doing an educational seminar, so we're educating people on A, B, C, and D. We're not allowed to get into specifics of plans as far as drug plans, as far as Medicare Advantage plans. So we have to keep it down to the basics of A, B, C, and D of Medicare.
Okay.
But if anyone has questions relating to anything specific about their plans and carriers, we are here to answer those questions. So we're supposed to come back.
Yep. You'll be back in November 7th. They will be back.
Oh, so November 7th is when it's like question time and a lot of answers.
Personalized questions.
Personalized.
Individualized, yeah.
So I want to go into, so why can't you tell us about other things? Is this a...
Well, because Medicare has what's called marketing events, sales events, educational events. If we do an educational event, I don't need to notify Medicare about it.
I got
If
you.
I do a sales event, it's a big compliance
I got you.
can of worms that gets opened up. So we have to make sure that we can only do what Medicare allows us to do in an educational event. I can do sales events, and I have done sales events on behalf of several of the carriers where they advertise it. They send out direct mail, they take full page ads in the paper, and they say, okay, we're going to be here at the IHOP, or we're going to be here at the certain hotel.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about Medicare, and we're allowed to obviously go into plan details about specific plans with the carriers or a specific carrier. We're also allowed to do enrollments.
Okay.
And so because of that, Medicare will send out a secret shopper, and we have to notify Medicare, and if I get sick and can't make it, it's a big can of worms. And we have done them, and we love doing them, but it's not the same as just saying, okay, we're going to come here and talk about Medicare, your questions about Medicare. And then we meet with our clients one-on-one afterwards to answer their questions about their specific plans.
All right. So, well then, I got to ask you some just general questions about just Medicare in general. So, I mean, first and foremost, can anybody, without going to, what Senior Moments Medicare Solutions, you can go onto a website, right? You can go through all these things without any of that knowledge and pick the wrong items. So are you guys basically, you're a consultant that helps them pick the right plan? Is that what it is?
We are consultants. We are like your auto or homeowner insurance
Okay.
guy. You can call them up and say, hey, who's got the best premiums for my car for this year of car, whatever. I want to make sure I'm paying the least amount of money or not overpaying. So your broker, which are usually independent, that means they don't work for any particular insurance company.
Uh-huh.
They have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's right for their client.
Okay.
Now, they also sign a contract with insurance carriers to be able to offer their products, and there are certain obligations you have to make to that insurance carrier as well.
Okay.
But for the most part, we look out for our clients' best interests. So, and we're completely independent, so we have all of the carriers that are available in the state of New Jersey for all the parts of Medicare. So that means Medigap plans, which pay after Medicare. So I'm getting ahead of myself because you're going to ask me about Parts A and B in a minute, right?
Possibly.
So Medigap, also Medicare Advantage plans, which replace Medicare, and then the Part D plans, which are for prescription drugs only. So we are able to put anyone in whatever plan makes the most sense for them based on their medications they're taking, based on their budget, based on their health history or their family history and the history that they're expecting to, have come true for their own health in the future. So we look at all of that, and sometimes it takes 2.5 hours. I mean, I've consulted with people in my office that were there for over 2 hours, just getting a real good handle on what their needs are to make sure that we're putting them in the right plan.
And so, from my standpoint, so and Medicare, these are things that you're entitled to or you're not, depending on your financial status. Is that what it is? I'm too young. I'm not there yet. But I want to learn, like, in other words, so if I'm getting there. I'm getting there, especially with all I need it now, though.
Jake's there now. He's a year in.
I got on
You look
Medicare.
very happy about that.
I got on Medicare last November, so yeah, it's coming up on a full year for me. But yeah, so that raises the first question. Okay, who can get on Medicare?
Yeah.
And what's that all about? All right, so Medicare is mostly for people 65 and older, regardless of financial status. People under 65 are typically not eligible for Medicare, but you can get Medicare under 65 if you've been on Social Security disability for 24 months.
Okay.
So I've got clients in their 20s
Really?
that are on Medicare because of Social Security disability. So also you can be on Medicaid under the age of 65, but you will typically lose it when you turn 65 and go on Medicare.
Okay.
So if you do keep it, then we call you a dual eligible because
Okay.
you have Medicaid and Medicare. And if you think about it, people on Medicaid have no monthly premium for that. Well, if they turn 65 and now they're on Medicare, Medicare has the standard premium this year is $185 a month for Medicare.
Okay.
So if you've been on Medicaid under 65 paying no premium and now you turn 65 and you're on Medicare and they want to charge you $185 a month, well, that's probably going to cause a financial hardship. So some people are allowed to keep their Medicaid coverage once they turn 65 and go on to Medicare because then Medicaid pays the $185 premium.
It's a good thing that they have you because I am already confused, Jake. I'm going to tell you. I mean, I think it's, and I think that it's just got to be very confusing for a lot of people that they have one type of insurance their whole life. They know the doctors that they're going to go to. They know these are the people that they're working with, and then they turn a certain age and they're gotten into a spot where it's like, okay, so is that when it becomes your secondary insurance and things of that sort? Do you get to keep the same doctors?
So ask me about Part A and Part B.
Hey, Jake. Tell me about Part A and Part B.
All right, so in a nutshell, Part A is the inpatient hospital. So you go into a hospital, you're admitted, you're overnight, you got a room, and that is going to be covered under Medicare Part A. There's no monthly premium for Medicare Part A, but Medicare does have an out-of-pocket cost built into the system called a gap.
Okay.
And the first gap is the Part A deductible. So you go into the hospital, you could be there 1 night, 10 nights, 50 nights, 100 nights, it doesn't matter. Medicare is going to cover what it covers, and your only responsibility is the Part A deductible. Of this year, it's $1,676.
Okay.
And what's it going to be for 2026?
I haven't seen the full list of gaps yet.
Okay.
Have you?
They don't come out till usually December.
Well, I've seen the Part B deductible. It's currently $257. It's going up to $288 next year.
Okay.
It's a big jump.
The hospital deductible is going to go up. They usually always do. But most people don't have to worry about the hospital deductible because they have a Medigap plan. So the Medigap plan, which has a monthly premium, which is determined by age and gender and which plan, that will come in after Medicare pays its share of the hospital bill, and it will pay that $1,676 deductible for you.
Wow.
You have no cost in the hospital at all
Wow.
under Medicare Part A. Now, Part B of Medicare, this is everything that's outpatient in the hospital or doctor visits, lab work, diagnostics, surgeries. Anything that is not covered by Part A is generally covered by Part B. Part B is what you pay that monthly premium for. Most people pay $185 a month, but that's determined by income from a tax return from 2 years prior.
Okay.
So once you've enrolled in Medicare, which you do through the Social Security Administration, so you enroll at SSA.gov, SocialSecurityAdministration.gov is where you enroll in Medicare. Social Security will check with the IRS to find out what your income was 2 years ago. They will report back, and then Social Security will tell you what your Medicare premium is going to be. The additional premium due to income is called IRMA, Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. That gets added on top of the $185 regular Medicare premium, and that's what you'll pay.
Wow.
You'll also pay additional premium for Part D of Medicare, the drug coverage. Part D comes from private insurance companies. So even though it's a part of Medicare, it doesn't appear on your red, white, and blue Medicare card. The only thing on that card is Part A, the hospital coverage, Part B, the doctor coverage. Part D, you got to get from a private insurance company.
I got you.
All right, so Part B has that monthly premium. It also has a deductible.
Okay.
It's $257. It's going up to $288 next year. And then there are other gaps as well. The 20% coinsurance, because Medicare only pays 80. Medicare pays 80% for the doctor visits, the lab work, the diagnostics, and things like that. So that's where your Medigap plan comes in. It covered the hospital deductible. It also covers other costs in the hospital. If you're still in the hospital after day 60, after day 90, there's daily copays. Your Medigap pays them all. On the outpatient Part B, your Medigap is going to cover everything except for the Part B deductible. People in the room that are older than, say, 70 are able to get a plan that covers that Part B deductible of $257, but people new to Medicare are not allowed to buy a plan that covers the Part B deductible. So everybody has to pay that $257.
I cannot even imagine how long the phone calls are that you have with these people.
Yeah.
It's got to be overwhelming. I mean, listen, we all know that any system that's set up, especially when it comes to healthcare, is kind of set up to be a little bit confusing, right? I mean, let's be honest. It's the more confusing, the better it is for the health insurance companies. And that's really the way it works out. So they need someone like, what you've just said is, I can't even imagine trying to navigate that by myself.
Well, the problem is, and Medicare has done studies on this, 85% of all the people, I think it's 87%, get it wrong when they try to do it themselves. End up in the wrong plan or in a plan where they can't see the doctors. We get calls all the time from people who did not know that the plan that they enrolled in with someone over the phone, or they called Joe Namath on the TV. Joe put them in the wrong plan, and they can't see the doctor that's across the street or go to the hospital. I have clients in an apartment building in Neptune on 6th Avenue. They cannot go to Jersey Shore Medical Center, which is across the street, because they answered the phone one day when someone called and they enrolled in that plan thinking it was going to be a better plan for them, and no one told them they can't go to the hospital across the street.
So this is why you guys have been doing this for a long time, and I'm guessing, so it's as simple. Somebody can just come in with their situation and talk to you guys, and before they leave, you can kind of get them in a good place of what is going to be right for them based on each individual situation.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so many people when we're in settings like this and they're asking us questions where we have been exposed to pretty much every possible scenario. Mm-hmm. And so we've got that knowledge, and I think of one in particular. I had a couple that came into my office, I think it was last year during this time, during the annual enrollment period. And they were very upset. They were in an Advantage plan, which there's good plans, there's bad plans, but they were in an Advantage plan, and their doctors weren't in the network, and they didn't like it. They wanted to go back to their supplement, but they didn't qualify medically. They had been in a Medigap plan, that kind that pays after Medicare. Medicare Advantage plans pay instead of Medicare. So instead of keeping your red, white, and blue Medicare card in your wallet, and then that Medigap plan, and then your drug plan where you would have 3 cards, 3 plans, a Medicare Advantage plan puts them all on one card. So Medicare is outsourcing the responsibility to provide your Part A benefits and your Part B benefits. They're outsourcing it to a private insurance company that they are paying on a monthly basis. So that private insurance company is now responsible for covering all of your Part A and your Part B benefits. They're also giving you Part D, the drug coverage. Many of them are throwing in a bunch of ancillary benefits like dental, vision, hearing aids, gym membership, over-the-counter card to buy vitamins and supplements. Well, this couple was on that plan, but it was the wrong plan. They didn't like it. They wanted to go back to their Medicare supplement, but they didn't qualify medically.
Okay.
Because the Advantage plans are always guaranteed eligibility, but Medigap is not. It's only guaranteed when you turn 65 or when you retire and lose your employer coverage. Any other time you want to enroll in a Medigap plan or switch what you have to go through medical underwriting. So we have to ask the medical questions. Well, they had been declined. In fact, they called the carrier back that they had been on and said, we want to come back, and they were asked the medical questions, and they said, sorry, you don't qualify.
Wow.
So they came to my office, and so I'm just asking them questions. I said, let me get this straight. You were on Blue Cross Blue Shield last year. This year you switched to a Medicare Advantage plan, and you don't like the Advantage plan. You want to go back to your Blue Cross plan. And they said, yes, that's correct. I said, you have a guaranteed eligibility to go back to your, they had already called Blue Cross, and Blue Cross said no. I said, they have to take you back. Medicare has a provision in the way these things work, where if you're on a Medigap plan, you have a trial right. You can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan for a full 12 months.
Okay.
At any point during those 12 months, you want to go back to the supplement that you had been in, it's guaranteed eligibility. They must take you back. So I wrote down exactly what to say, and I gave it to him, and I said, call Blue Cross Blue Shield, because it was an evening meeting, or I would have called Blue Cross with them in my office. It was an evening meeting, so couldn't get him on the phone. I said, here's what to say, call them tomorrow. He called me back. He was the happiest person you've ever seen on the planet because he got back into Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Wow.
And it was for the first of the following month, which I think was about a week away.
Wow. That's huge. And I mean, that's funny because they told him he couldn't.
Told him he couldn't do it.
So how did you get into this? How did you, I mean, and you work with your son. So how's that? How's that? Is it fun working with family?
I love it. And my mom, his wife, is now our, whatever you want to call her. She does everything around the office, scheduling, whatever
If
it
it's
is.
not
She
a good
watches
beach
my
day.
son now.
If it's
so
not a good beach day.
a bunch of stuff, but she's involved now, so it's more of a family affair. My sister, one of her sisters, was helping at some point, but yeah, I was just living up in the city about 10 years ago, and I was, bartending and all that stuff, and we were in Ireland, I think, at a pub, and Dad's like, "This is great. Like, if we're here together." He's like,
Well, I was probably enrolling somebody,
He
too.
was taking phone calls. He was on the phone in
I could see this.
still working, and he goes, "I'm working." But it's just the life, and I can go do this.
Yep.
It's not work for me. I just love doing what we do.
Eventually, and that was pretty much the end of it there. I moved out of Brooklyn, and then like 5 months later.
So you've been doing this.
and
You've
got
been.
in. So it's been about 6 years for me. This will be, I think, my 6th AEP, which
Annual
is the crazy annual enrollment.
Oh yeah, when you start throwing out the acronyms, and you know
You
you've
said
been
open
doing it.
enrollment, which is actually in January,
Ooh.
March, but open enrollment for like group coverages and things, I think it gets kind of confused with the time we're in right now. They also call it open enrollment for employer coverage. But yeah, so now it's just 2 of us. Mom's helping out and teaches me everything. He knows, and yeah, it's not work. It's amazing.
It's a labor of love. The best part about it, he brings my 10-month-old grandson in almost every day.
Oh, that's great.
Well, yeah. So my wife works at home, and
Grooming
I
him
have the
already.
kid, and we're
Yeah,
not
right.
paying for daycare because I don't know if you've looked at daycare
Oh, it's
in
ridiculous.
New Jersey, but so we're not paying for daycare, and we have him at home when we're not working, or when I'm working from home, and then I bring it to the house, and then Mom watches him. I bring him into his office. He crawls around and tries to eat everything. So it's
And he definitely knows the difference between A, B, C, and D.
He does.
I know that
Not-
for sure.
If not, he
He'll know.
will soon.
So I have
probably
a
my
question.
first
So
words.
Jake, before we end everything, if I have a new person ready for Medicare and they're going to come see you, what do they need to bring with them?
All right, well, at this time of year, we have to go through a triage. In fact, I had emailed someone on the way. Luke was driving, so I was emailing and catching up on emails. But we have to do a triage because we've got people that are turning 65 for November, and they've already gotten their Medicare card, and they need their coverage. They need their drug coverage to start November. But I had a woman email me, and she's retiring in December, and she's staying on the employer coverage till March. So I can't put her in my calendar right now because we got people turning 65 for November and December, and everybody else in AEP with literally thousands of people that want to talk to us right now. So once we share that with them, okay, we can talk to you when. We like to get a list of medications. We like to get, first of all, we want to know where they live because that can impact what state are they in and what county are they in. That'll impact what's available to them.
Okay.
But generally, if someone's just going to be needing to enroll in a drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, it's just name, address, date of birth, and Medicare number. That's it. If it's a turning 65 situation with someone or retiring and they're in their guaranteed eligibility for a Medigap, then we just need a little bit more Social Security number, bank account info, that's it.
Okay.
But if it's a fully underwritten, meaning they don't have a guaranteed eligibility right, then we need to get all their medications, we need to get their height and weight, and it's a little more complex.
And get a little bit more, yeah. And so now, and you're going to be at what? When are you going to be here for answering questions? When is that happening?
November 7th. This
So
is
November
Friday,
7th.
November 7th. And he'll be here for answering questions. And then if anybody wants to make an appointment, they can make an appointment. And we have a room set up that you can meet privately.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we got to play a game with you. I'm sorry. It's the way it works. If you come to the show, it's now officially.
It's game time.
That's right. It's game time, and we are ready for our game. So now, this is for our audience, and you guys are going to be explaining the correct answers here. Okay, so we're going to see if you learned anything today. All right, so for our audience out there, which part of Medicare covers hospital stays? Is it A, B, C, or D? If you think A, hands up. If you think B, hands up.
So you can't play.
If you think C, hands up. If you think D, hands up. Well, thank God, because what is it?
It is Part A.
It's A.
Part A. Good job, everybody. Well done. You guys were all correct. Great job. Now, we're moving on to our next one. Our next one is a little bit more, actually, I like this one because I think it's going to make sense here. Which part covers prescriptions? Ooh. Oh, look at you. Not even going to wait until I ask. I see how it is. So do you think it's A, B, C, or D? Is it A? No hands. B, C, or D? D for drugs, baby. That's right. That's the way it goes. Is that right?
Yes, but one quick interjection. Some medications are covered under Part B of Medicare. So if your doctor injects a drug, or if there's maybe chemo,
Okay.
a lot of times those drugs are covered under Part B of Medicare. So that would be paid at 80%. And if you have a Medigap plan, it'll pick up the remaining 20%. So these are not drugs that you would go pick up. Actually, some of them you can pick it up from a pharmacy. Like if you're self-administering an MS drug or something similar, it's a shot. It is covered under Part B, but you can pick it up at a pharmacy, so it is a prescription.
Oh, see, you learned something new. And now, who tells you these things? You guys? Or like what happens when you go to the doctor and now you've got your card and does it happen or?
Well, we have to recertify with Medicare every year.
Okay.
So that's the first step of our annual recertification. And we usually do that now in July. Mid to late July is when that starts, because once we do that certification, then we have to recertify with every carrier.
Wow.
So we've got 8 or 9 carriers in New Jersey. Blue Cross in Pennsylvania is Independence. It's Horizon here. It's Anthem in New York. It's Florida Blue down there. And so we have to cert with every one of them. So
Sounds like fun.
that's why we start in July.
Wow.
So we're ready for an October effective.
You should take a month or so.
Well, I will tell you this. You know, I met you through the Rotary, but I've heard your name time and time again when it comes to Medicare. This is the name I hear. I heard it with caregivers. I've heard it through Harrogate. So I do know, and I feel very confident that you guys know your stuff. And it is a confusing way to go if you don't. And you can really get yourself. Oh, on the flip side of this, if you go down the wrong path and you get the wrong coverage, like you said, you could literally not be able to go to the doctors you've been going to for years. Right. You could not go to the hospital you've been going to for years. Right. So it is something that it takes a little bit of time. And then our final question I'll ask is, so how much does this cost if someone wants to come and meet with you guys to go through this?
Well, there's never a fee to talk to us.
Never a fee to talk to me. That's
never
our
a fee to
tagline.
talk to me. You know, you got to make it rhyme. But no, there's never anything, like that. People come with they come and bring us donuts and whatever they want.
But
on the
wait,
holidays.
there's more.
But wait.
So once you're enrolled in a plan, the Medigap plans are set it and forget it. We never hear from our clients once they go on a Medigap plan. That's the one that pays after Medicare, right?
Okay.
So it's the Advantage plans and it's the drug plans where people have, in fact, the Part D is where Medicare gets the most number of complaints, so the drug coverage. It's just crazy. We have a client care team that work for us.
Oh.
So when Louise calls and says, well, I paid $600 for this thing the other day, I said, no, Louise, that's not right. We're going to get you a refund on that, or at least a reimbursement on part of it. Luke has a client in Florida. We were just checking in with them, and they paid a $3,000 hospital bill. And we said, well, no, you were in 3 days. It should have been about $1,000, not $3,000. So we got them a credit on their credit card for that. So my client care team gets involved for whatever you may need, whether it's finding a doctor or a dentist in network, or it's correcting a bill, helping with the pre-authorization. That's what they do. And there's never a fee for that either.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming back here and teaching us a little bit about this. I'm excited. I hope that people can join and ask the questions, because, I know I have a million. We're going to have to just do a show just with you guys on this and see if we can do it without saying the word meta, just to see if we can do anything without Medicare or Medicaid, because it is it's confusing. It's very confusing. And without people that can clear it up, it's almost impossible to navigate, and it's so important. So thank you guys so much. You know what? We'll hopefully, listen, if you're looking for, come on in. I think we were November 7th. Is that November 7th? Come in for questions here at Harrogate. And also, you guys are located in Manasquan. That's where your office is?
We are. We're in Manasquan, but a lot of people find us on Google.
Okay.
We have all 5-star Google reviews, and a lot of them. So
and that's
people find us on Google.
And what's the website that you guys are at?
We are Senior Moments Medicare Solutions.
.com?
SeniorMoments.com. SeniorMomentsMedicare.com.
SeniorMomentsMedicare.com. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll be right back. And thanks again, guys. See you in a minute.
You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria. Thanks for joining us, and we will be right back. The views and opinions expressed on Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria, presented in partnership with Caregiver Volunteers and Harrogate, are for entertainment and informational purposes only. These views do not necessarily reflect the opinions or policies of Caregiver Volunteers, Harrogate, this station, or their affiliates. The content provided should not be considered medical, legal, or financial advice. For personalized guidance, please consult with a licensed professional. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria.
All right. Well, we are back, and it is a very special version of our community corner here with Robert Wood Johnson Community Corner.
It's time for the Community Corner with RWJ Barnabas Health Community Medical Center.
Oh, yeah. So we've got some special guests here joining us now. We've got Pat Ahern, the CEO of Community Medical Center, and Dr. Jerry Chircolo, who is the interim CMO and chair of emergency medicine at the same hospital. Now, Pat brings more than 40 years of healthcare leadership guiding Community Medical Center through an A safety rating from the Leapfrog Group, transforming the emergency department in 2023 and stepping into academic medical center status in 2021. Jerry joined in 2022 and is nationally known for his work in point-of-care ultrasound, which I got to experience, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, as well as working with the professional sports team and teaching new physicians. Together, they shape our local care system, how it works, and from big strategy to what happens when you walk in the door. We're really happy to have you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
No, this is really exciting. I was telling you beforehand. So yes, I've spent a lot of time at your hospital, and I went there at first I wanted to see. Listen, if we're going to talk about you guys, I want to see what's going on. It was the greatest experience I've had in New Jersey, period. And I went to all three. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't gone to all the hospitals, but everywhere within 25 miles of me, from Jersey Shore to Brick to Community. And the one thing that I can say across the board was exactly what I read in here, which is you guys have really put a lot of time and emphasis into empathy for your clients, empathy for the patients, and understanding the fear factor that they go through when they're in the hospital, and the families, and not knowing, we're in Ocean County, we've got one of the largest senior populations out there, and medicine, although we've learned a lot and advanced a lot, when it comes to caring for seniors, especially with talking to their families and talking to the clients and advocacy, I think we've gone backwards, except for where you guys are. And I saw that firsthand, the difference from 1 week to the next, from one hospital to the next. It was overwhelming. And I congratulate you on what you did, because I got to be honest, I grew up, that was the hospital you went to die to. That's the way it was. And I got to tell you, and I said this last time and I'll say it again, when I hurt myself next time, I will go directly there. The emergency room experience was the best I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, which will be soon. It'll be very soon. But so I do thank you guys. And I got to know, though, so what initially inspired each one of you to go into this healthcare leadership roles, and where do you come from? Start, Pat, where did you come from with all this?
Where did I come from? I'm a New York City kid, so born and raised in New York. I'm actually a finance guy by background, and I went to one of the big firms in New York way back when. I won't even tell you when. Literally the day I got there, one of the partners brought me along to a hospital, and I've been in hospitals ever since. So most of the hospitals in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island were my clients, big to small. Mm-hmm. And then typically either you stay with the public accounting firm or you go with one of your clients. So I ended up at Princeton for 16 years, CFO, and then I also have an IT background. And then after that, I went to, and this is where I got involved with the RWJ system, I went to St. Barnabas, now Cooperman, up in Livingston. I spent 16 years there rebuilding that place, and I'm an operations guy as well. And so I love to fix things. And then 9 years ago, actually, I think it was last week, I came down to Community, and part of it was I didn't feel like Community, because as I said, I'm a fixer. I didn't feel like Community was really living up to what I thought the reputation should be. I knew Community very well, and so I came here, and then I started bringing my friends and people like Jerry to come down and really help me, because you said it, and I say it often to our employees. So two things. One, 73% Medicare. So that's a lot of Medicare patients. That's who we mostly serve. And the highest super senior population in the country is in Toms River.
Wow.
And so super senior is 85 and over. So we serve a unique population. And then the other point you made, which I think is important, is that, and this is really where I think the culture has changed for us, and I think people have embraced this. I say this all the time. When people come to us, they're hurt, they're scared, anxiety level is through the roof. Not everybody can be in healthcare. If you think you're going to get a thank you, you have to understand we're here. So empathy, being kind, and communicating well are really important traits if you want to be successful. And so we bring that. And as I said, my friend Jerry ran one of the biggest ERs in Manhattan and was a Jersey guy. And so Jerry came a few years ago, right, Jer?
That's right. That's right. Well, I grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey, son of Italian immigrants, pizza man. Worked really hard in that pizzeria, and I learned that it's not the kind of work I wanted to do the rest of my life. Kind of scared that out of me, and decided to go into medicine. Had my whole career in New York. I was out in Long Island for a decade, and then went over to New York Presbyterian for a decade. And my parents wound up having a house down here in Normandy Beach to spend some time in the summer and on days off. So ever since I was a kid, I knew about community medical center, and I knew it was a place that really wasn't too popular, and for stated reasons you said before. But once I was approached about the opportunity, knowing that it was going to be a new academic center, I was weary, but said, let me take a look at this. And then I met with Pat and saw his vision, saw his compassion and empathy for the community, his energy, and where community was heading. I said, that's an initiative I wanted to be part of.
That's great. It is, I can't get over, I love studying people. And what I was amazed at is nobody knew I knew anybody who knew anybody, right? And when your name came up, people would smile. They love working with you. They love working for you guys. They love working in that group. I think that the one emphasis that has been across the board is that you care what the public thinks about your employees. And that when an employee feels that their boss or their support system cares what the vision is of the outside of them, then it all steps up a little bit more. When I found out about how you went from a party of once a year or twice a year to celebrate those that were mentioned to every quarter and just endless amounts because of the thank you letters that are coming, and I saw firsthand. I will tell you that. And I think it is more so with what you're doing in the geriatric line, like the different studies that you're going into. The fact that we got the x-ray right there in the emergency room. The fact that even so my father-in-law was one of those, he was a risk, so they had to have a watcher, right? Mm-hmm. Now, listen, I know that for the most part, I was scared. I was trying to get an aide in there as well because I've been through this before. And what does that mean, a watcher? What does that mean? The cameras, he's still going to fall out of bed, and was my feeling. Well, this woman was wonderful. Every single person from the moment I walked in to the ER doctor that called us back afterwards, after we were out of the hospital, to just check in was, I cannot say enough. And I just loved it because when I see what you're doing on the geriatric level, and we've talked about it, it is different medicine. It's different. You can't treat the client or the person. Yes, medicine is medicine, but it's totally different when you're trying to understand that whatever you tell that person at 8 o'clock in the morning before the visiting hours start, they're going to now try to relay to their family. Mm-hmm. And you don't know, they probably don't have their hearing aids in, they don't have anything that's going on. Every single person from the nurses that we went in, they were more than willing to give us all of the notes and get us in touch with everybody. And I can tell you flat out, it wasn't like that at the two other places. And they moved us from Brick to Jersey Shore because of my father-in-law's special case of cancer. And I thought, when they said this, it's going to be better. It wasn't better. It wasn't better. So I'm thrilled about what you've been doing. I will say, do you have 6,000 emergency rooms, beds now? It's unbelievable going on there.
Yeah, we have 100.
102, I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah. And part of that, again, was I wasn't happy with the emergency room. The old design of the emergency room literally and I'm sure in the time people thought it was good, but they built it for privacy, but it was literally isolation. So people would be in this small room, And you know how it gets with time, right? 5 minutes, you think it's an hour. And does anybody even know I'm here? Does anybody? And so we opened it up. Jerry was part of this, the whole design and the flow and everything else about what it should be. So people are right there in eyesight. They can see us. We can see them. If somebody needs us, we're right there. And it's been great. It's worked out. We get so many compliments over it. So we actually, it was the first project I did. $40 million project. And the other thing I promised the community is if we had to get them out of there, so we put a helicopter on top of the emergency room and said, 12 minutes from here to Robert Wood Johnson, if you're really in tough shape, and we don't fool around. We're not going to promise people that we can do stuff we don't do. If we got to get you someplace, we'll get you someplace. That's our commitment to our community.
Wow. And who did we have on that does the helicopters? He was, who's at your ER? Dr. Stander? Was it Stander? Yeah, he used to do the helicopters, right? He was saying that too. He was so cool. I mean,
Done flight medicine.
that's the thing though. Everyone that has come here from community has been really just people that do this for a living. They're in medicine, but they're people. Haven't been offstandish, haven't been just regular folks that I would feel comfortable coming to with a problem and not feel like I'm going to be talked down to. And so, I mean, I think it's great, and I think it's very interesting that you didn't come from medicine, because operations is operations. And when I visualize the glass door, the glass walls, let's just say, of the emergency room, and do realize that that's why you did it. It's a really cool thing, because even walking in there, yeah, it's a little mazy, right?
Yep.
But who cares? Because at the same time, that you make a very good point. You do feel sometimes when that door closes that when are they going to come back? And that it was a great experience. So now you got to tell me for those that are listening to this and watching, that don't know much about Community Medical Center, how would you describe the hospital's mission at this point and its role in Barnabas the healthcare system?
Well, our mission, we kind of worded down the mission to it being very simple. We're there for the health of our community. There's 600,000 people around our hospital. And I don't think people realize that. We're as big as cities like Boston, Detroit. We're twice the size of Atlanta, Pittsburgh, but we don't have a city. And so people are spread out a little bit. And so you don't think of it that way, but we should be a major medical center, because you wouldn't think twice in those cities of having a major medical center. So, okay, if you're a major medical center, what does that mean? For me, it was 95 or 98% of what our community needs we should deliver. The other 3 to 5%, the esoteric stuff, we can move them and get them out quickly, right? So if you go by that premise, then you start looking at the community. So the 600,000 people, maybe this is the finance guy in me, right? The 600,000 people, I call old people. What do we need, right? The most strokes in New Jersey, Ocean County. The most cardiac surgeries in New Jersey, Ocean County. The highest degree of lung cancer, Ocean County.
Wow.
The most orthopedic surgeries, Ocean County. So when you start looking at it that way, then you say, okay, those are the type of programs we need to build. We need to be great at them. And then you start looking at, and the thing I've been blessed with is I get guys like Jerry convinced to come and help me out, and we've brought tremendous talent to the hospital, and it's all about taking care of the people. I look at it as when I first came here, and I'm sure Jerry felt the same way, I'm not sure I would go there. And I can't work in a place that I can't, I have a menagerie of people. I got 4 kids, 6 grandchildren, and all sorts of other appendages, and they always need health care. And I know they're going to call me, even though I'm a finance guy. I think I'm a doctor sometimes, right?
I know.
And so, to me it was, I need to be in a place that I'm proud of that delivers great service. So it's pretty simple for me, the mission.
I hope that. I mean, you got to feel. You've seen the changes.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of wild, because I'm really happy that we started the show and we got to learn more about you guys, because I would have been in the same camp as. You just hear what you hear. I had never gone to community before. I really shouldn't have judged it, but I heard what I heard, right? And then when the brick EMTs came to my house, and I'm 5 minutes from the hospital, and I go, I want to go to community. They were like, wait, what? But what was the funniest thing is then we go to community, right? And I see the guys on the way out, and they're like, you know what? This place is really nice. And I think it's based on the fact that you guys actually have as an emergency room. Now I could talk about some of the other floors. We were just on the cancer floor, but from the other floor, like the emergency room experience, the fact that you have your own parking garage for the emergency room, you have your, like, you can get your value, you can just get there. It's simple. You know exactly where it is. It's separated, but it's together, is really great. And I think that, you know, what's been going on is a big change. And what is your vision though? Like, where are we going to go? How long out are we? Until the big change? I mean, it started off, how many millions did you think it was going to be, and how many billions are we going to be at there?
Well, it's going to be a B word, probably, but I'm not allowed to say that. No, you know, part of it was in, you know, you said it, to me the most important thing is about the people, and then you also need to surround them with the facilities to be able to get their job done. So when I got there, people would start renovating little pieces, and I said, we can't do that. So we created a master facility plan that said, what are we going to be 10 years, 15 years from now? And so that's what we're building on the campus. It's in 4 phases. We'll have a brand new facility in a few years, and they'll come and renovate. And so we've laid out what we think we will be when we grow up in 10 years. So we're looking at least 10 or 15 years of what does this community need, and how do we give the people that are talented, that really work there, you know, the surrounding that they need to do their job. Yeah. The other thing that you said before, which I thought is very interesting, over 90% of our employees live within, I'm going to call it 10 miles the most. So it's a very hometown still hospital. Mm-hmm. And even though we're big, we're almost 600 beds, it still has that feel. And so when you talked about pride, I don't think people that lived in the area, even if they worked there, had the pride. And I think the biggest change is they now have pride in what they do. They now are, you know, when they're out in the neighborhood, you know, and they're hearing about people that have gone to the facility, mm-hmm. they're hearing, instead of 90% bad things, they're hearing 90+% good things, and that instills a pride in you know, working there, and it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any new specialties that you're bringing in?
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, no.
Talk, Jerry.
Well, we're bringing in a bunch of new programs, and some of the biggest ones are neurosurgeons who do neurointervention. So historically, you'd have a stroke, and way back when, you would just wait for it to complete and do some rehab, right? And then we started with some antiplatelets or blood thinning medication to, you know, try to prevent it from getting worse. Then we found this medication that could dissolve the clot, but there's timing on that, and it's very nuanced. And now medicine has evolved to being able to go in with a catheter, suck the clot out, and fully try to reverse all of the damage that was done from outside of that core infarct area. And we've recruited some really big name neurointerventionalists. We're building that program up, and hopefully soon to have that capability 24/7, because in the past you'd have to get in an ambulance or in a helicopter and go far away from home to get that stroke care. And stroke is very prevalent in Ocean County, like Pat said earlier. We're also looking at advanced spine surgery, right? So we have orthopedics and we have a lot of back issues. So we've combined specialists from orthopedics and neurosurgeon surgery to work together to care for all of these complex spinal issues. We're bringing in high-level cardiologists to deal with not only advanced heart failure, but ischemic heart disease and other types of arrhythmias, right? That especially atrial fibrillation and the like, which also is very common here. Bringing in toxicologists and addiction medicine specialists. And why you say toxicology? Well, unfortunately, Toms River and Ocean County, in a bigger sense, has a big addiction problem. And historically, that would either get ignored or treated very poorly. Now we have a lot of resources available to us to not only get you to break your addiction, but to treat the effects of addiction both psychologically and physically. And most people are on way more than 10 medications down here, right? A lot of comorbid conditions. And people think of toxicology like you'd have to ingest something poisonous. Toxicology is as simple as polypharmacy. How do these medications interact? What are the better options for me? How can I give them the best outcome with the least amount of side effects or untoward effects that medications can bring you? There's countless more. I mean, urology, we brought in
Just
urology,
gonna say uro-oncology.
and oncology, and just in general as a bigger specialty is being looked at, and thoracic and pulmonary medicine. We brought in Pat brought in some pretty big international experts in lung cancer and how to work up lung cancer and manage lung cancer, both on the surgery side and the interventional pulmonary side. These guys are as high level as you can get. When I talk about thought leaders, they're contacted by physicians all over the world to get their opinion on how to handle things, and they're right here at Community Medical Center. So that's really just the tip of the iceberg of things that we're doing, and we're definitely going to bring really top-level care. We're bringing and will bring top-level care to Community Medical Center.
The whole thing is, why do you have to go to New York or Philly, right? And so, and especially after the pandemic, people don't, and in fact, what we found is people avoid healthcare. If they've got to travel, especially the older population, they'll avoid healthcare, and that's not good. So we want to make it where they have an access point.
Well, I mean, that's really something that you bring up too, because I mean, it's like these things that you learn and you never question, I guess, right? Like, oh, if you're sick, well, you got to go to the city. Why? Like, I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, I got to go back to the fact that we left Sloan and we were told he didn't have cancer. And then here we are 5 months later, and he passed away last week from cancer. So, I mean, it depends on where you go and what happens, right? And I mean, I think it's just amazing what you're doing. Now I got to ask you the deep question. What is the thing that keeps you up, both of you guys, at night? What is the one that you're like, that one I really want to fix? I don't know how yet, but I really want to fix it. What do you think, Jerry? What's that for you?
Well, for me, it would be the communication issue, right? So, we pride ourselves now in delivering care as a care team, and that goes from the environmental services specialist who is disinfecting the room and trying to make it as clean as possible and healthy for the next patient, all the way through the most specialized physician that might be on your case. But you got nurses, you got patient care techs, you have transporters, you have people in radiology, people from lab medicine. So it's a care team, and we all work together. And we all work together to provide the best care, but sometimes that communication amongst the care teams, could be improved, let's say it that way. So that's one of my biggest focuses now, is trying to improve the communication amongst the care team. Even though they might be communicating with each other, a lot of times it's not getting back to the patient, right? So we need to focus on
in
that.
our case, the family. You said it before. To me, we've also embraced that. I think that's part of it, as you said. I've lived this with my parents, and then now with my mother-in-law, and talking to her is useless. You got to talk to my wife and her sisters, because they're the ones that are really helping with the care. And so everybody's got to be on the same page. I say this often as well at the hospital. If you're in the hospital 5 days, typical stay, 5 days, 100 different people are going to interact with you.
Right.
100 different people. So Jerry's right about communication. It is vitally important, because people get nervous if they get different messages, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right? This one says, I have cancer and I don't have cancer. And, are you people all on the same page?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important that everybody on the team knows what's going on. So, and that's a lift. For me, it's staff, to be able to, people have a lot of choices to do a lot of stuff, and it's not always healthcare. So to keep the place staffed with really good people that have the same mindset, because the tendency when you don't have the staff, people will, just get a body to fill the position. And it doesn't work in healthcare, because again, you have to have certain traits, and it's not a crime. I always say, not everybody's built for healthcare, and so to get the right staff people across the board, and that's from physicians to housekeeper, dietary, and everybody else, it takes special people, and there's shortages, especially with entry-level positions.
I'm still worried your mother-in-law is going to hear this and say she's an
That's right. We get to edit. Don't worry.
No, I'm afraid my wife will hear it. That's even worse.
Well, it's funny, because I mean, those are two main things that I think everyone, all the healthcare is going to suffer from. But two things that I actually noticed were so much better at Community. You know, and I have to say, and I mean, I love hearing that because you've already done so much better than a lot of folks, but it is always going to be an issue. And I mean, especially with, you know, we had talked about it, actually, I think Kelly Widener was here. And we were talking to her about the patient experience and how, and actually a few of the doctors as well. And what's tough is, it was Sandler. So Dr. Standard, he was telling us how he's the ER, and then his job is to really just to get him to that next level and make sure. And then when you're following up, there's a lot of follow up because there's so many doctors along the way. And I was really amazed because when each step of the way, the breadcrumbs were still there. We didn't have to start all over with every single person that walked in, which is not what I can say for other places. My father-in-law was at Jersey Shore for 4 days when the doctor from oncology called us and said, "When are you guys coming in for your inpatient?" I said, outpatient. I'm sorry. When are you coming in for your outpatient? I said, "Well, we're in the hospital right now." He said, "Oh, I'll be right over." 4 days. So I think that as we're computerizing things, as things are getting more digital, as we're using more of these software programs, which we have to use, right? It tends to sometimes take that ingredient out. So I wish you the best with trying to figure that out, you know, and when it comes to, you know, advocacy, and I mean, I dealt with it. My family's crazy. We're all psychotic, and like, we have to get that message. I record it. You know, I record the doctor's visit. I transpose it, and then I send it out to my family so there's no who said what. But in dealing with my wife's family, I realized that not everybody's like us. And there's that paramedic mode that a lot of people don't have. So when they're just shell-shocked and they're actually, it's reflecting off of them and they're not taking it in, and now the next person asks, "So what's going on?" It just causes a lot of frustration. But a doctor can't make a phone call to 17 family members, you know? And if I was a doctor, I would be the first to admit that I would be there as early as possible before the visiting hours to talk to the clients, you know? I mean, because you have a huge patient list. So these are real problems, but what's really neat is I think that the innovation of how do we get around that, and from seeing what you guys have already done is really cool. I mean, I was there to pick up, I was picking up my aide, and you guys had some reggae band playing outside, and you had some lunch going. And I mean, but it was wild to see the faces of your staff is happy. Your staff, I don't see that very often, especially today, anywhere. Forget about a hospital, but anywhere. And I can see you're always going to have your problems. You guys have, I'm sure, how many employees are over there?
There are almost 3,000.
Okay. Wow. So out of 3,000, I mean, when we're talking about like a place like Harrogate or any of these locations where it's hard to get staff to staff a location like this, 3,000 people, that's unbelievable. So if you're talking about you've got 70 to 80 and higher amount that are showing up and caring, because that's what I saw. Out of all if I saw 100 people, there'd be one doctor that I'd get rid of. But the rest of them, I would, you know, it would be amazing.
You're going to give me that name later.
Oh, absolutely. I got it. It's got written down, yes. But no, I mean, and it was really, I mean, it's really cool. So what is the big thing? Now we talked about the things that what are the most exciting things, that one thing that you just can't wait for that's coming in? Anything?
Well, for me, it's the new building.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that will change everything, because part of our problem, and people don't realize this, that I guess pre-1990, the regulation in New Jersey was you're only allowed to, a hospital could only have 10% private rooms.
Really?
That's it.
Wow.
So all older hospitals had semi-private rooms, and that's a problem. The rooms are small, and especially in this day and age with infections and everything else. So half the rooms, like on any given day, we have anywhere from 50 to 60 rooms at a service that can only have one person, even though it's a semi-private room, because of infections and things of that nature.
Oh, wow.
So, and anybody that's been in the community, the rooms are tight, and the equipment nowadays, all the equipment you can bring in, it really creates challenges, TVs, noise, all the rest of that stuff. And so, to me, and that was up to the 90s. So any of the newer hospitals that were built now are built the way they should be, basically private rooms. And if you think of us, 600 beds in round numbers, then you could have 60 private rooms. However, the ICU, we have 40 beds, and they have to be private. So 40 of your 60 beds are in so you could sprinkle one or two on each floor. And people, you know, again, I think we do a great job, but people are not happy with that. So to me, the project with the new building ultimately will have the whole place private rooms. So that, to me, will take us again to the next level.
It sure will.
What do you think, Jer?
I think that's a really good answer, because I think the facilities are going to be so spectacular. I think it's going to bring that that wow factor and the privacy and dignity that the patients deserve and respect. But I'm excited to see our academic programs mature, right? So we're a new academic facility. I think we've going on 5th year into our residency programs. We train 36 emergency medicine residents, 36 internal medicine residents. How many is 9 surgery residents?
Yeah, 27.
Yeah, 9 a year. So 27 total surgery residents, 16 transitional year residents, a bunch of podiatry residents, and we started a point-of-care ultrasound fellowship, we started a simulation education fellowship, and we had started a pulmonary critical care fellowship. But
That's just the beginning.
That's the beginning. But to be a true academic center, we got to grow from there, right? We really need more fellowships and more programs. And the discussion about bringing some OBGYN residents down into the mix. And from my background in sports, I would love a sports medicine fellowship. But growing these academic programs, what it does is it challenges faculty, it challenges them to be on top of the latest research. It challenges open dialogue and debate about different ways to practice medicine. It really keeps everybody sharp, keeps everybody honest and on their toes. Mm-hmm. And coming from my entire career, very established academic programs, I see this in the making, and I'm really excited to get to that.
You know what? I wanted to ask you about that. So when we're talking about academic, so who's teaching? Like, what is it? So what happened? Is there like classes going on? Like, how does that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
academic.
So all the above, right? So they're people who graduated medical school, so technically they're physicians, but you have to train in a certain discipline in order to become competent in that specialty. And there are physicians who are experienced who then become or are chosen to become core faculty, and that's your main group of doctors that teach the residents in whatever discipline they're training in. And one day, I'll give you emergency medicine as an example, and the other programs run the same way. So every Wednesday, they are protected from seeing patients. We get them in our beautiful GME learning space. We have, our core faculty give lectures. We invite, thought leaders from across the country in emergency medicine to teach them topics. We do hands-on work for procedural skills and assessment. And one day a month, we go to our simulation lab, which has high-fidelity simulators, where you can simulate the patient's vital signs based on a clinical scenario, and you assess the resident and how they're managing these critical situations, and you provide feedback and a debriefing afterwards. All of these high-risk, low, infrequently performed procedures we do in the simulation lab every single month so that they keep those skills sharp for the rare time they would have to do it in the emergency department. And every time a resident sees a patient clinically on the floor, whether it be in the emergency department, in the operating room, or upstairs, they are supervised by a board-certified, experienced physician.
Wow.
So that's what.
That's really cool.
And
the
all that's
teaching
on
program.
site, correct? Like
All
the
of
lab
it's
and
on
everything's
Wow.
site?
The simulation lab, which will be in the master facility plan, currently is offsite at Ocean County College. We partner with the nursing program over there because they have a really, really good.
It's brilliant too. I mean, it's
simulation.
great. I mean, yeah, because you can. I mean, it's what I had a home care company, so I know the best thing is not to retrain people.
Yeah.
So if you can get if you're working with the program right from the day, then you can create your own community type environment from day one, which is just that's brilliant. I mean, that's really exciting.
Well, we simulate communication. We simulate end-of-life talks. We simulate how to diffuse an agitated, angry patient, all in the right way. So doing that in a controlled environment where you could really, teach them how to properly handle those situations is really key. And that's one of the reasons why we started our SIM fellowship, is because there are all these resources to provide education in a way that is so close to real patient encounters, but in a safe way because you're dealing with a simulator.
Now, speaking of that too, because you brought up, now you worked with, was it the Brooklyn Cyclones? Was that right? No, the
Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets and the Red Bulls. So you did I'm sorry, football, soccer. So so going from the professional sports to this, big change.
Well, I'm still working with the Red Bulls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I am their chief medical officer and team physician. But thankfully, their games are on weekends, and I do some small pop-ins on their training facilities, and then we do a phone call with our strength and conditioning and physical therapy and athletic trainer team, or sports medicine team. So every day we have 2 quick phone calls, check in on every player, on the roster, what their load was in terms of sprinting and distance covered and accelerations, decelerations, any nagging injuries, and then there's the maintenance stuff like the injections on knees to keep them lubricated and oiled up, and then game coverage, which is on weekends.
He hasn't helped me. That's all I can say. I don't know, Jerry.
Well, I'll tell you guys, this has been a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to meeting you. I have a quick, I shouldn't admit this, but when I was over at Community, and you actually mentioned it. The one thing is, there's a lot of times with a nurse that you feel like you're bothering them. You feel like you don't want to ask questions, like, because you feel like you know that they've got so much going on. The training, whatever you guys are doing, is working, because I never felt that. I never felt like I was bothering anybody, even though I know that there were 100 other people that they had to work with. That it's not about doing your job. All of these hospitals, nurses do their job, but to make you not feel like you're bothering them makes the experience that much better. So when you're going through those simulations, when you're going through that to understand where somebody is, it's working, and it's great. But I got to play a game with you guys. I'm sorry. It is officially...
It's game time.
That's right. It is game time, gentlemen. We're going to let you play together because we don't want to make you look bad in front of all these folks here. But, all right, I'm going to ask you a question here. Let's see. This one, we'll let you converse together, okay, on this one. All right, so what everyday activity can lower blood pressure and boost mood? Is it watching the evening news, singing along to your favorite song, folding fitted sheets, or debating politics at dinner? What do you think?
Yeah.
You saying singing?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is it singing?
Singing.
Did you know, believe it or not, singing improves oxygen flow, reduces stress hormones, and releases endorphins. Karaoke counts as cardio, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. So keep on singing along. Well done. I will give you one of these. That's right. You got that one right. That's right. That's good. All right. Good job, guys. I got one more for you. I promise this one won't be that difficult. Wait, maybe I should do the difficult. No, I won't. All right. Here we go. I want you guys to tell me, if you would, which brain-boosting food has been shown to help memory and focus in seniors? Is it bacon? Is it blueberries? Is it potatoes, or some milk chocolate? What do you think?
Blueberries.
You guys are educated. I see how this works. All right. Well, yes. Actually, blueberries, they're called the brain berries, and they're packed with antioxidants that protect memory cells. Hey, listen, I got one more. I'm not done. Hold on.
Oh, he found it.
I did. No, this one's not that bad. What everyday activity can lower blood pressure? Wait, no, I already did that one. I don't have another one. I lied. I'm out of here. So listen, guys, we have two. Do you have anything else for these guys before we let them go?
Oh, I love that all this is going on. I mean, I'm in the hospital a lot. I see the changes that are going on. Love the new parking garage, by the way.
Thank you.
I can't wait till the other entrance is open, though. But and I hear that's going to be soon, possibly, right? So, but anyway, loved having you here, and we love to have you back as things progress.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually have one last for you, because I think it's important to ask. So from the from your E team, how do you guys go about positive and negative feedback from the hospital? Is this something of importance when you get the letters? Like, what is it? Because in talking to Kelly, and I know that their team does look at it, but does it get up to you? Do you read these things?
Oh yeah, always. And Jerry's great at this with the emergency room. But I will tell you, so we do employee forums where all employees have to come and listen. And so we got a letter from a patient that I found very interesting. So picked up the phone, called the patient. Patient's like, I said, "This is Pat Ahern." She goes, "What?" and I said, "I called you, I thought your letter was interesting." I talked to her. I said, "Would you do me a favor? Would you come in and talk to the employees?" And Her answer was, heck no. And then I said to her, how about we videotape you? And she said, that would be great. And so what she shared with us is what we did well, where we fell short, what she thought we could do to improve the place. And all 3,000 employees have seen that video, including the Board of Trustees, because I think it's so important for people to see the feedback and hear the feedback. She was great, but she said some things that, like, you know what, wow, you look at it and you cringe and you go, and I think it's important for us to, and everybody in the facility, to understand where we're doing great, where we may be falling short. But Jerry does a spectacular job with the emergency room feedback.
We get the comments every week. I read through every single comment, look at every score. The ones that are good, we acknowledge the people who were named and called out. If it's a really good letter and no names were on there, I'll go into the medical record and find out who the providers were. Everybody in the care team, I'll get contacted. And we look at the ones where it's like, okay, there's room for improvement here. I call that the bad, so the good, the bad, the ugly. And the ones where there could be operational improvement, maybe system-related issues, they get some feedback that way, kind of put that in a separate bucket. Then I get what's called the ugly, really concerning statements that would really bother me, and I wouldn't want for my family, my loved one, which a lot of them live in Toms River, so it could have been any one of them. And what I do is every month I have a 3-hour staff meeting, and I'd say a good 20 minutes of that 3 hours is going through the previous month's good comments, bad comments, ugly comments, meet with providers on the ugly comments separately, get their side of the story, and try to work as a team on preventing that from ever happening again.
And I get every comment, inpatient, ER, outpatient, every week, and look through them, and we'll reach out to people, especially the ones where I think there's opportunity, and as Jerry said, get the story, and you know, part of it is none of us are perfect. Things happen. We don't want them to repeat, so how do we, you know, people have to know. If you don't say anything, then people will never know that, you know, what do we need to do to improve, and especially if we see something that's consistent. When you see it a few times and you start, you know, then you really, you know, it's not an isolated incident. It's something that we have to fix. And as I say to the community all the time, you're our partners in this. If we're not living up to what we're supposed to, or if you see things that you don't think are right, tell us. We're not going to just ignore it. We're going to look at it because we're the partners for you. We're here to take care of you. And so that's the best we can do is be humble and say, you know, we're not perfect. Let's just keep putting one foot in front of another and keep improving.
Well, I can't thank you enough for what you guys have already done and the environment over there, from Daniel, the social work, to everybody I work with and everybody there. I just think that you guys are doing a great job. And you seem like really great guys, and we really appreciate you spending the time with us and just showing people that, yeah, healthcare can be a little bit scary, but if you got the right heart behind it, maybe we can make a difference. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, you guys. And we'll see you again. We'll be right back, everybody.
You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria. Thanks for joining us, and we will be right back.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria.
All right, guys, we are back. And guess what? It is time for...
Now it's time for Partners with Prizes.
That's right, it's Partners with Prizes. We are here with Holistic Care Hospice. Why don't you guys introduce yourself here, please?
I'm Sherilyn. I am the Area Director of Operations for the Holistic Care offices in New Jersey.
And
I am Cassidy Greenberg, and I am the Community Liaison for Ocean County.
And Harrogate's rep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
look
yes.
at that. Wow.
Yeah.
So Holistic Care. So you guys, it's a hospice company, and we were talking beforehand. So you're not really attached to any of the hospitals. So, and tell us a little bit about, you know, we've learned a little bit about hospice on this show, but one of the main things is, once again, just tell us a little bit about the overview of hospice versus, you know, what people think, where, you know, and what it really is, and who is eligible for it.
Yeah, so hospice is typically end-of-life care, but many people are under the misperception that you have to be sort of at very deeply end-of-life to qualify for hospice, and that is not the case. We have a lot of patients that are on with us for many months. As long as they continue to decline, they are appropriate for hospice. Typically, a patient will be eligible when 2 doctors certify that they have a prognosis of about 6 months or less. But I am here to tell you, after 18 years of doing this, that we have had patients on for over a year, and we continue to care for them and their families as they go through their end-of-life journey.
Oh, wow. And how does it work now? I mean, like when somebody so a doctor says something like, hey, listen, you might want to consult the hospice company and so on and so forth. So now you go out and, I mean, no one wants to talk to you.
Correct.
I'm guessing. I mean, this is not the phone call you want to have. So how do you get people on board? Because I know how great a thing it is. I mean, I understand that. I don't know if everybody understands. I don't know if there's a way you can do it without it.
So that's a great question. Nobody really wants to talk to a hospice representative. Nobody wakes up and decides, hey, today's the day that I want to talk to hospice about grandma or grandpa or mom or dad or Aunt Sally. But we are a service within the community that provides end-of-life care when somebody needs it, when a family needs it. You want to have those resources available so you know who to call, what to ask, and you know what you're getting. So when we sit down with a family, my belief system after almost 2 decades of doing this is I want to be a resource. We want to be a resource to the community. There's a lot of hospice companies out there. You should interview them. You should do your research. You should do your due diligence, but know the questions to ask. And that's where we come in. Very often I'll sit down with a family at that introductory meeting and talk about what we do differently. And I'll say, if you're interviewing other hospice companies, here are the questions you want to ask. How many times per week are you seeing your case manager? How many times per week are you getting an aide? What ancillary services are being provided? Is there a music therapist? Is there a massage therapist? Do they offer PT, speech, OT? Do they have an end-of-life doula? All things that we happen to provide and offer conveniently. So it's very important that when families are sitting down and making this very difficult decision on a day that they didn't expect to have to do so, that they know who they're sitting with and they know what to ask.
Yeah, I mean, that's the toughest part about it, is because when it comes that time, honestly, I hear you, and you would love to. In a perfect world, it's just like anything else. You do your due diligence. You check with as many people as you can. But the reality is, when that moment happens, you're blinded, and someone gives you a name and you call it, and that number, and you don't know. No, this isn't one of those things where you go through it many times in your life. So you don't know the difference until it's too late, or until you have that other opportunity. I've been through it twice, and I had completely different experiences with hospice. And fortunately, being in this industry and knowing what I know, I was able to get around it a little bit. But it is important to know aides. Are you going to get somebody there to help you out with that? It's important to know even the littlest things about, like, a bed extension. When will the equipment come? How quickly? What kind of equipment is going to come? When will the nurse be there? What doctor can prescribe? All of these different things you learn on the fly. So really, more than anything, is the management company. Who do you deal with? Your case manager. How available are they to you? And will they have all the ins and outs to get you what you need there? But that's wild. So you guys do like OT, PT, all that?
So it depends. Everything is driven by the plan of care in hospice. So when a patient is admitted to hospice, the RN case manager goes out and does a complete assessment, head to toe assessment. And we talk about goals. And so in hospice, you're not getting PT the way you would in a rehab facility, where you're getting it, maybe twice per day or every single day. In hospice, it's very, very specific to a specific goal. So a patient comes home from a rehab facility and they need to be able to stand up to use the bedside commode. That's a very specific goal. We're able to determine with our PT company and the plan of care that we want to accomplish that goal, and that should take so many PT visits. And then we can make it part of the plan of care. And then back to what your first guests were saying, the PT company, they can bill a different part of Medicare. And that's how it gets covered if it's independent from our plan of care.
Gotcha.
So it's all about trying to figure out how to say yes instead of just blanketly saying, no, we don't do that.
That's That's interesting, because I mean, I do know that it's a very tough situation to be in, because most of the time probably hospice is going to come out of a hospital visit and they're going to push whoever they work with on you, and it's not even I say push. The reality is they're going to give you a number, and that number is going to be whoever is working with the hospital. It's not for any other reason than it's simple and it's easy. It usually also means that you're going to get less, just because it's a bigger conglomerate and it's the way it is. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. So if you had to have the conversation with a potential client, and they were to just say to you, all right, listen, I don't know the difference between all this stuff. You can tell me what you offer, but I'm not going to understand the difference and why that really matters. What would be your, I hate to say pitch, but why is it that you guys work for Holistic Care? Why is it that you work for them over these other guys?
So I've been part of Holistic Care since almost its inception. The people who birthed Holistic Care into the community, I came on as a marketer in Cassidy's position shortly thereafter. So I very much grew up in hospice over the last 20 years. And prior to that, I was not in the healthcare arena at all. So this is all I know, and I'm proud of that. So over the past almost 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs in hospice, the changes in hospice, the way that we do things differently, the billing systems are different, how we have to document has changed, everything has changed so much. But when I sit down with a family and I say, hey, listen, we are a resource to you. Here are the things that we do differently. So we have our RN case managers, they go out once per week. We try to keep continuity of care. So your RN case manager is going to be your RN case manager for your journey. Now, certainly people have days off and different things, and you might have to see somebody else, but we do that by design so that every 2 weeks when we sit down with our medical directors, that nurse is reporting out to that medical director. That medical director has spoken to that nurse throughout the time that the patient is being cared for and is familiar with the case. Medicare guidelines say you do not have to go out once per week. That is a best practice that we utilize. Aid care. Everybody's going to make different promises when it comes to aid care. You want to find out exactly what they are able to do with the staffing model they have today. Some companies can provide 7-day-a-week care. That's a beautiful thing. Right now, we're doing anywhere between 3 to 5. There are some that don't start aid care right away, and they can only do 2 to 3. And depending on what your loved one needs, that's a very important question. So if you have a live-in caregiver, you may not need 5 days a week of aid care. Or if you have a really wonderful family that understands what's happening with the patient clinically, you may not need additional aid care. But in the event that you don't have those two things, that's a question you're going to want to ask to find out exactly how much aid care you get and exactly what that aid is able to do when they come.
Yeah, no, that's huge too, because you're right. You can get volunteers that are not CHAs. They can't do anything. They can't do.
Yeah, they're just companions.
Yeah, they can't do any hands-on, and then it's. I mean, I know for me that was the main thing. I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be worried about the dirty stuff.
And then some of the ancillary services, as I said, we happen to have several of our employees are Reiki masters, and then we have a robust volunteer program, but to have several staff members that are paid staff members that do some of these additional services. So we have a music therapist, and he's wonderful. He's come here many times, and he just sunshine and light just emanate off of him. And having the music therapy has just been so wonderful, because very oftentimes at end of life, when you can't reach a person, music will always reach them. And it's really beautiful to watch, and it brings the staff together, and it really calms the patients down, and it helps the families. And that's a service that we offer. We also have an end of life doula on staff, and she provides, very similar to a birthing doula that welcomes a new life into the world. An end of life doula helps see a life out of the world. Part of the last page of the last chapter of the story.
Wow, that's tough though. I mean, because I know, like I'm just trying to think about. My father-in-law was not accepting it. He would have thrown her right out.
Well, not everybody everybody is a candidate. You really have to read the room. We also, we do like aromatherapy, and not everybody's a candidate for that. Not everybody wants the Reiki. Not everybody wants that, but we vet it out to determine whether or not somebody is open to it, would benefit from it, and then again, we make it part of the plan of care. Everything goes back to that hospice plan of care.
That's very cool though. And so how long has this been in business now?
So Holistic Care started in the early 2000s. I joined like 2005, 2006 in there as a marketer, and then over the years, now I sit in the ADO position.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's neat to learn about all the different companies and what they offer. And I will say, from someone who had 2 different companies, there is a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big difference, and I guess one other thing that people should understand is you can change in the middle.
You can.
You can make a decision, and you do not have to live by it.
That is correct.
If you feel like maybe this situation could be better, it's okay to find out if it would be.
There is a way within the hospice model that you can transfer one time within each benefit period. And so if you elect a hospice company, and certainly you make the best decision you can at the time with the information that you have, and if it's just not going well for whatever the reason, first you always want to contact the office of that hospice company and try to figure out how to make it right, but if you're still not happy, there are many hospice companies, especially here serving Ocean County in particular, and there are options to find the right company that works for you and for your family. And it comes down to asking some of those questions at the beginning to find out exactly what your needs are.
That sounds, I love everything. You sold me. It's too bad I didn't know you a couple weeks ago. We would have been good. No, but it's true too. It's an amazing thing. And hospice, it really is a blessing. It really is a blessing, because you don't know what you don't know. And then, when you're trying to deal with this stuff and your head's not in the right place, it's nice to hear, even if it's just to back up what you think is happening. That's really what's important. It's just to have someone to lean on and say, hey, listen, is this what I think it is? Yes, it is. Okay.
And that's what we say a lot of times when we meet with a family. We're giving you a lot of information. You're not going to remember all of this. When you retell it later to your brother and your sister and your cousin who's in nursing school, you're going to have questions. So call us, text us, let us have that conversation again, because it's a lot of information. But death does not have to be scary. Hospice used to be like a 4-letter word. You walked around and you couldn't say it, Maria, right? Remember?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. And that is due in large part to education like this, where people are becoming familiar with the language and understanding what it looks like and what it means. Whereas we rewind the tape 15 years ago, you said hospice and people sort of recoiled back from you. They didn't want to sit next to you. But death can be very beautiful, and it can be very peaceful, and it can really leave the family with a lasting positive memory of, again, last page, last chapter of that journey.
No, well, we appreciate it, and our audience is really going to appreciate this prize that you brought. So now it's time for our partners with prizes, and we've got a beautiful basket here. Ooh,
Cassidy built that.
Did you really? You built that?
Yes. Don't ask me how long it took, but it's a beautiful
Listen,
basket.
it is gorgeous. It's got a little bit of everything in it. You can have a picnic and plus some more fun with it. So now we got all our tickets. Are you ready?
Ready.
You got to pick one out.
All right. Are you ready?
Go for it. This is our winning ticket. I need a drum roll. Oh yeah.
Ready?
No. Give it to us.
36751202.
Who's got 02? Oh, we got a winner! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Regina is so lucky. She wins
Does she?
all the time.
Twice.
She's already won.
Right?
Regina, we're gonna split that after.
You're pretty lucky
Regina knows
too.
exactly where to sit. That's what it is. Well,
Yeah, Murr, I think you'll give it to her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna give it on out to you. But guys, yeah, I love this. I love the basket. It's gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for coming
you.
on here. And you have some cards and stuff that you can put in the bag.
Sure,
please,
yeah,
for anybody.
absolutely.
So when you guys, if you ever need some home care, some hospice care, you do have a choice. Make sure that you check out for the best.
Yeah, patient choice is super important, and to have a resource that's always available. So I think that's the most important. My phone's always on, just to answer any questions for anyone.
Your phone's always on. Be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, be careful what you ask
Be
for.
careful what you say with that. Well, we want to thank all of our guests today.
Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. We went a little bit long, but we had some great stuff going on. So we will see you all again next month. We're going to do this all again. So it has been the Senior Scoop. I'm not even going to pretend that I know what's happening next month. But something's happening. It's time for the Senior Scoop to get out of here because we are done. We'll see you next month, everybody. Bye-bye now.
It's time for the Senior Scoop with Bob and Maria.